We are comical though, right?
I know, yeah, people love it.
Okay, we're streaming.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, everybody. Hello.
Let's just double check. Yeah, we're on. I just want to make sure I can see.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, how do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have like a red beeping, like a beeping light, a flashing light or anything. Those days are over. The days of the red beeping light. Now nobody knows anymore.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Let me get these. All right, we'll wait till somebody starts watching.
Okay.
Because there's a little lag, you know?
Yeah.
All
What do
right.
you H2O or is that a protein shake?
It's a protein. It's a protein.
Yeah, I know. Is it really a protein shake? Oh. Oh.
No, it's water.
Okay. Okay. 10:30 at night drinking a protein shake.
Yeah. Okay, so we are live, and what are we talking? I'm going to put the title in here. What's his name? Bruno.
Bruno Borges, Borges.
Okay, we got one person watching.
Hi, one person watching. Welcome to the show.
You have a personal reading if nobody else gets on. Okay, live readings. Bruno, and who else are we talking about?
Franz Barden. I don't know if did you record his birth date?
Yes.
Birth detail.
12/1.
12/1/1909.
Not receiving enough to make this video. What? Oh, my chat's not on. That's why. Sorry, you know there's always a glitch. Everybody knows. That's just what happens. That's what happens.
Yeah, so Franz Barden, Bruno Borges. Those were the two that I know that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about some of the other stuff, more current event stuff, but
yeah,
if we
let's go ahead. You start because you're the one that has all the good mystical stuff. So
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Well, if you catch me on a good day, maybe.
Okay, yeah, we have.
But okay, so do you want mystical stuff or are we talking current affairs? You know what I'm thinking? You know what you and I talked about earlier, and it's kind of like it's a little bit controversial because it's one of those topics that is like, so whether people want to address it or not, it's at the forefront of the collective, and that's the elite pedophilia rings. And you're giggling because it's one of those.
No, I'm laughing at what somebody just wrote. They wrote, "Please, no flat Earth."
Oh, okay, no flat Earth.
Don't worry, we're not talking about flat Earth. Don't worry.
No, we'll save that, especially for you, person who wrote that comment. No, but you and I talk about it sometimes where we're like, it's one of those topics where we're not sure how people are going to take it. It's a pretty miserable topic, but it's also really necessary.
Yeah.
And
I think you should talk about it, and I will put my 2 cents in about it. But I think that it's something that needs to be brought to attention because the whole political thing is. I was thinking about it today. I mean, you just can't turn on the news where you have something that's so so negative. I mean, it's just constant. And, whether, like I say, you like him, you don't like him, liberal, conservative, it's not even, it's like worse than that now. It's like the people, I think, the people are making it crazier than, anybody else, and they're riling everybody up, and it's really just like unsettling. So I have, everybody that watches my channel knows my views, and I don't care how anybody's opinions are politically. I mean, I'm not judgmental. I'll be friends with people that voted for Hillary Clinton. That's not an issue, you know what I mean? So I think that the main thing is to focus on the positives too, because I think it's pretty upsetting. But I just want everybody to know that one of the reasons why I stand up so much for Trump is because of something that Jenny kind of opened up my eyes to. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying, before I get a bunch of haters on here that just start saying, oh, blah, 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 it's something that needs to be brought up attention to, because when I first heard it, I said, no, no way. I didn't even believe it. And then I researched it, and it's true. Like, there is proven evidence of this stuff. So, Jenny, why don't you talk about what I'm talking about, and then people can look it up for themselves before they go judge everybody and me, including me and you or whatever. So, God.
Oh, sure. Well, I think what you're talking about is Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Pizzagate investigation, the hashtag Pizzagate has evolved into Pedogate for a few reasons. First big reason, I think, is a lot of people just hate the name. The name Pizzagate is just awful, but I mean, just to kind of give everybody a rundown, it's not possible to give anybody a rundown in like 30 seconds or 45 seconds about the nature of this, because the fact of the matter is that what we're seeing now, and the story of Pedogate is essentially something that's been rooted fundamentally in the fabric of government, and how interwoven it is with, all with the elite society, and how high up it goes. It's been going on since the beginning. Like, it has always been happening.
And why don't you tell them what Pedogate is? I think they need to know. It's an elite pedophile ring. So everybody look that up.
Say it loud, say it proud. And I know that it sparks that same that passion in you. And it's hard because people don't want to talk about it. It's such an uncomfortable topic. It makes us, it forces us to contend with the darkest parts of the human psyche on a large scale. Because what we're talking about here are characters, central characters to the Pedogate scandal. We're talking about Hillary Clinton. We're talking about John and Tony Podesta. We're talking about Anthony Weiner. We're talking about all of these people who happen to be members of the Democratic, they're all from the DNC. So people look at this as strictly what they've done to kind of gain some damage control is pin the whole story as being a creation or a conspiracy theory formulated by the alt-right, because it is fundamentally so anti-Hillary, anti-DNC corruption. So they're painting this picture as an alt-right conspiracy theory, but it's not. We actually have amazing circumstantial evidence. And so they've thrown all kinds of narratives into the mix to try to divert attention away from it. That's what the Russian collusion is. The Russian hacking is actually, we really have it on amazing authority here, that Seth Rich was actually murdered because he was the one who leaked this information to WikiLeaks. Julian Assange has suggested it. He is all short but admitted it. The only reason he hasn't is because they don't actually go on record and name their sources, which is smart. But he's also telling all of us in our faces, yes, this man was murdered for providing that information to us. So really, Seth Rich is a hero. And, a lot of us have been championing his investigation. What we want is a publicized, non-biased investigation into his death. I mean, the DNC is offering $0 exactly to find out who murdered him, and the DC Police Department is offering $25,000, and WikiLeaks is offering upwards of $100,000 to find out who killed him. So money really talks. At the end of the day, that's really what talks. And the DNC has no interest in finding out who murdered him because it was an inside job.
Yeah, and not even to mention, let's talk about all the attorneys that keep getting axed.
Yes, and it's just there was an attorney.
What, is that a coincidence?
No, there's no coincidence. We're at a stage in the game right now where every little thing really counts. Like every blip on the radar. They're absolutely desperate. I mean, I live in South Florida, and just over the past couple weeks, 2 high-profile attorneys. One was a civil lawyer, and the other one was handling a case linked to fraud within the DNC. One was found beaten to death on a beach in Fort Lauderdale, and the other was found dead in his home in Coral Gables. And, I don't think for a second that this is a coincidence. I think that, what we're seeing is desperation, and people are getting killed left and right for uncovering a lot of corruption, namely in the DNC. And we're not suggesting that it's limited to the DNC. And I think that that's kind of like a lot of where MSM is trying to paint this as just one side making things up. For some reason, we have been really focused on the DNC, some of these characters like Hillary Clinton and the Podestas. But you know how I feel. I think that there are people in really within this administration that are equally as predatory as the Clintons. And that's a topic of, I can't prove any of that. You know what I mean? I can't prove what I'm saying at this exact moment. Yeah. But Pizzagate, Pedogate, we have incredible circumstantial evidence. And if we could find out who murdered Seth Rich, that would substantiate the evidence for Pizzagate immediately. And that would be a really big deal.
Yes.
So basically what they do is they take kids. So when we say we're talking about everybody is in on this. We're talking about DCF. We're talking about, a lot of the foster care, the foster care organizations actually look for people that are predatory, bad people to become foster parents. I know that's a really bold statement, and I'm not generalizing, but it's important to understand that elite pedophilia, it's not just the elites that do it. There is a huge population of pedophiles in the community. And I think what we're seeing, because we're moving so quickly as a collective towards this sort of breakthrough, if you will, is a lot of the ugliest sides of the human psyche is bubbling up, and we're all having to contend with it, both on a micro level and a macro level. And that's why the Pizzagate, Pedogate scandal, I think, and a lot of us think that it's the biggest scandal in American history. This is the scandal that will bring the empire crumbling down. We just have to substantiate it. We have to push for it. And anybody can go onto WikiLeaks.com, look at the Podesta emails for yourself. Anybody can go on YouTube right now, and as a researcher and a journalist, I have been surpassed on every level by other researchers and journalists who have been working around the clock to compile evidence and put pieces together. So it's really easy. Just go to YouTube, use your discernment, because there's lots of crap out there. But
there was like a woman that I did a reading for a while back ago. She was a bigwig nurse. I mean, she sent me the actual articles and links. Like it's not something that's not out there. It's just something that's not covered. So,
right.
And that's the sad part about it, because, I can deal with like pretty much anything else, but to abuse kids and to sexually molest people and literally do that kind of stuff, and I'm not even going to get into the details because it's just some sick shit, but all I can say is just Google this stuff, and it happens in the UK. It happens all over. It's pretty nuts, and you can judge it for yourself. But I mean, you can look up these people, like maybe not the core center got in trouble yet, but like there was a politician in Ohio that I looked up his chart. What the hell was his name? And 7 and 8 year old girls, big wig politician, senator. I mean,
and what we're seeing now, actually, and this really is a pretty good segue into some of the other things that we're going to talk about. But part of the reason why a lot of people support Trump is because a lot of us believe, and I'm undecided yet, but a lot of us believe that Trump is particularly going to attack the issue of elite pedophilia and pedophilia in general. Just last week, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, he spoke directly to 1,500 law enforcement officers nationwide on every level, state level, and beyond, speaking to them directly about cracking down on pedophilia. So, and the amount of people that have been arrested since Trump's...
Hold on, Jenny, real quick, because everybody's putting these birthdays in. Like, yeah. I'm getting half. July 3rd, 1988, 9:30 a.m. Beckley what? West Virginia? I mean, that's just my guess. But I need to know the exact cities and locations, and I can't scroll through all this. So redo the birthdays if you can. That would help a lot, please. Thank you. Because I wrote a note in there. So go ahead.
So
Back to you.
how many do you think we can get in?
I don't know. I'm gonna write them down and we'll just do what we can. So
Okay.
go ahead, keep going.
No, we've seen a huge increase in arrests across the country, like hundreds.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we're in the thousands now, to be honest. So more pedophiles and predators, sexual predators, particularly people that abuse children, have been arrested. More people have been arrested since Trump's inauguration than the entirety of last year under Obama's administration. And what's interesting about that is that Obama and his administration is extremely implicated in the Pizzagate claims. He is absolutely 100% involved if we look at the Pizzagate evidence. Now, this is circumstantial evidence, but depending on who you talk to, some of it is pretty hard proof. But the challenge then is how do you present this to a judge who is probably on their side, who is probably involved in it also? And that is the challenge, Heidi.
Yeah, and astrologically, just for so everybody knows, like the thing about the whole chart thing. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Trump's chart doesn't add up to doesn't show the same things as every single one of those other people do. I mean, not the exact same chart, obviously, but there's certain nakshatras that I use that all of them seem to have some correlating pattern, which I find awfully interesting. I mean, it makes you just think. So, regardless of, I just get, when I get comments and when I just turn on the news, I'm just like, really? I mean,
people are really reaching. They absolutely hate him. And when you ask for a good reason, it's like, well, because he said pussy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, what's better? I mean, yeah, that word, right? Let's think about this. Would you rather hear that word? Do you think that's bad, or do you think molesting children and
well, people don't
sexual
believe
children?
it.
Well, that's the problem. So
Right.
we're here, I guess, to mention it. I mean, do
Yeah.
your own research. I'm not one to judge, but I will say I don't judge. But when you do stuff like that, I mean, it's in the charts, but still,
it's okay to judge people for molesting children.
Yeah.
It's okay to hate those people and to think they're disgusting and to want them off the streets. And
prove me wrong that that's not true, right, Jenny? Like, show us some proof that that's not.
Well, right, and if you've and some of them have actually been questioned. James Alefantis, who's the owner of Comet Pizza Ping Pong in Washington D.C., named Forbes 50 most powerful people in D.C. Why is a pizza shop owner one of the most powerful men in Washington D.C.? I'll tell you why. Because he's not just a pizza shop owner; he's a high-ranking liaison between the overlords, his puppet masters, and the rest of the common people, and he's like a connoisseur for children. That's what he's a connoisseur for.
Did you see the pictures that were on that, Jenny?
Yeah, of course, I've seen everything.
I mean, everybody needs to go. There's a lot of controversy with Alex Jones right now, but Alex Jones is bringing this to light. And that's why people are dogging him and saying he's crazy,
right?
And all that stuff.
Alex Jones is probably under quite a.
I know. I agree. I worry about him.
Very serious. These are very serious people to go after.
Yeah, that's why I worry about what we say.
Well, they have bigger fish to fry. I don't ever really worry.
No, can you fix your sound? Jenny is too loud. Honestly, if you want to take the risk that we just ruin this thing, I probably don't think that's a good idea. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll just speak softer because I probably.
Okay, so enough about that because all I'm saying is, I just like when I saw Maryland people were doing that, I was just like, I even actually like did a tweet. I never tweet. I've tweeted like 3 times in my life, but I had to because it's just they just can't stop. If it's not one thing, it's something else. Going after him and going after him. I mean, you can hate him all you want, but let's talk about the good things that he did. Okay, if something comes out and he is this crazy corrupt man, which I'm telling you, I think everybody's going to be surprised. And when I say everybody's going to be surprised is because astrologically, I don't see that. He has some hard ships to go through for sure. But
Yeah.
I can say that I'm just gonna pray that the God even God knows. It just is what it is. It will all come to fruition. I'm not even if his chart looks dicey, I don't even want to put that negative energy out there and feed into it. Just like you just it's just pathetic. So I just had
Yeah.
to go on a little rant.
Mhm.
So, but let's talk about what else are we talking about? Who did we
Bruno.
say?
Let's
Bruno.
talk about Bruno. Do you want to talk about what you found in his chart?
Yeah, so real quick, because we don't have any justification here about his time or anything like that. But due to the fact that, hold on, all I can say is this. What's his name? Bruno. Somebody requested this,
Yeah.
that we do his chart because this guy that mysteriously, go tell the story about him.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know the story like the back of my hand, but this guy, 24, 25 years old, went missing on March 27th. He's in Brazil. He was like some kind of a like just this like genius sort of kid. He was kind of like probably on the spectrum somewhere. I hope that's not too much of an assumption there, but
Wait,
he was at.
wait, real quick. We're getting buffered. You know what? Probably because of what we're talking about.
Oh, are
I
we?
guarantee you that's why.
Probably. I
Is
don't
that
even
what we're
care.
talking? Is that what's going on? I think that's what people are saying. Hold on. Check resolution. God, keep going. It will record.
Yeah. No, it's fine. That happens. It
Yeah, look,
happens.
it actually stopped streaming. That's crazy. Oh my
Hi
god.
guys. Hi everybody. It's
Yeah,
your girl
it
Jenny
stopped
Moonstone.
streaming. Oh, I guess that's what happens when you get a little controversial. Okay. Can anybody hear us?
It is their favorite topic, Heidi. They love it. The Gremlins love it when we talk about that because it's their Achilles heel. It's the one thing that scares them more than anything. So they're desperate. You guys hear me? I know you guys hear me. You freaking dweebs. What
Okay,
a
good. They
bunch.
can hear us. Yeah. Sorry. Telling you, we are being, I'm sure they shut us off because we started talking about that. Seriously. Okay, keep going.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so listen. So this kid went missing. His room was shut for like 24 days. He kept the door locked. He went missing. He had 14 books handwritten. They're all encrypted, and a few people in the Brazilian media were able to translate some. What it looks like to me really is that this kid was a conscious or unconscious channel for some kind of an ET energy, and he just wrote. It was like he just started channeling and started writing everything, and things were coming to him. And I also found out that he actually didn't work alone, so he actually had a few people give him money that kind of like officially sponsored him, gave him money to finish his project, and they also helped him. So there was a contract and there was like a splitting of assets. So part of me also believes that this whole thing is contrived and that he's not dead and he's not actually missing. He planned it this way. I really wouldn't give it too much thought, honestly, because I think that this is contrived distraction,
Yeah,
and that particular sort of thing just irritates me because you know how I feel. There's real things to like focus on.
right.
Also, we can confirm that this young man was tied in very closely to the cicada 3301 phenomenon. And so there's that. So he was either a contributor or an asset to that puzzle. Anybody that knows is familiar with that. I'm not an authority on it at all. I'm just coming into this information. But I happen to believe that he is safe. And I think he was into ritual magic, and wherever he is, he probably is in hiding with some friends somewhere until, I think it was for the excitement, for the attention.
Yeah, and I will have to say, I agree with you. And the reason why I say that, we talked about this a little bit before, but at first of all, he has a twin brother, right? I did see that. So you have to ask, like, okay, does he have a twin brother, or is that like him that's his twin brother? right? Because I stalked these guys on Facebook. So I went into investigation mode and looked around. I couldn't find them. So, I mean, there's something sketchy. And the story is
Right.
just too weird. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense. But,
Right.
and that's the thing. I just did a video with this astrologer, Ryan, and he made a good point. Like, you get so wrapped up into these things and you can go down a dark hole, right? And it's fun. We love it. I do too. It's great. But reality check sometimes every once in a while. We can't think everything is, distractions and just a big, not everything is. But I will say his chart is screwed up. I mean, he's got a heavy conjunction. He's got K2, Sun, and Mars together. Sun and Mars is harsh to begin with. Throw some K2 with that. I mean, that's harsh. And what at that age, with him being this way, it's he's got Rahu and Denisa. That's I don't know. I can't really say too much about him because we don't. He's got his Jupiter is in Ardra. We know about Ardra. I talk about that. Anybody who's watched anything, can be pretty destructive. His moon is in Vishaka. Vishaka is all about standing up for a cause, but a lot of times that Vishaka cause can go, sometimes it goes south.
Right.
So there's so many things going on here
Right.
with this chart. And who's to say, who even knows if this is the right birthday? So for me to sit here and waste time on it,
Right.
I just think it's a waste of time.
Okay.
So, do you think so too? That's.
I mean, listen, I think it's really interesting, and I think if this guy, he was quoted as saying that he thought that these manuscripts were going to benefit all of humanity someday, and his family seems to think that he left so that people would pay attention. So his leaving was actually more of a stunt on his part to get people to read what it is. But I read some of the excerpts for myself, and I haven't read it all, and it's not to to downplay anything that he's done, but it really kind of sounded like more philosophical than anything else, and not so much data and actual information on the mechanics of this reality, which is what I would be interested in knowing. He has people believing, well, I can't say he has people believing, but the media will have some of us believing that he phased out of this reality. He cracked the code, he ascended, he's now with aliens. That's what a lot of people are thinking. So everybody's like, how did he do that? I don't think that's what happened at all. But I'm not saying that he wasn't in touch with ETs. It can be argued, though, that channeling from somebody that calls themselves an ET or an alien or something like that poses its own risks, because you really can't trust it. How does he know that he can trust it? How does he know that this ET isn't kind of playing him on a loop and kind of regurgitating some of this information, directing him to write out this information in a certain way, to not for the benefit of humanity, but as to further the deception. So I'm just really skeptical about all that stuff.
And he was found running on the streets. There's too many what ifs. And then we have to rely on people that are translating his everything. I don't know. There's too many unknowns, and there's too many. It just looks to me it looks like a scam.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not that big a deal. We should move on.
Okay, so then. All right, so I think who knows? It could have been the government. We'll just go with that one.
Even the Men in Black, they were probably like, "Oh my God, this guy's a genius," and we get. That crossed my mind too. Who knows, man? Who knows?
His planets. Well, I will say his K2 is in the planet of Maga. Maga is other worlds, so we'll leave that hanging.
I don't doubt that he was channeling. I don't doubt that he was advanced. I just doubt who he was talking to, and I also doubt some of the motives, not necessarily of him but his friends. There was money there. The police have actually arrested 2 of his friends recently, last week, for obstruction of justice because they hid a notarized official contract that he signed, that Bruno signed the day of his disappearance, giving them assets like royalties to the publications of the books. So there's money and contracts involved and all kinds of shady stuff going on. So
yeah,
what are you gonna do? Who knows?
Okay, so real quick, do you want to talk about the other guy, or should we just do the reading?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to, but we don't have to. I did a whole show on that, so we don't have to talk about that if you don't want
You know,
to.
there are a couple. I'll say this about him. Let me just
Yeah.
chime in.
Tell me what you've got.
So I like him. Let me tell you why I like
Oh
him.
my god, I know. I love
And
it.
I just pulled this up right now. I didn't even look at this earlier, but he's got K2, Mercury, and Sun in Scorpio. He's like triple water sign. He's got K2, Mercury, and Sun in Anurata. That's like a good nakshatra of Scorpio. He knows shit. Period.
Oh my gosh, he's like the
And
best.
let me say this too. It's funny. He's who are we talking about again? You know
Franz
him. Yeah. What's his last name? Just so everybody
Barden.
knows.
Barden.
Okay.
Franz Barden. He wrote a bunch of books. He wrote Initiation into. Do I look okay? Oh my gosh, I'm so hot. I am like it. Like it went up like 10 degrees.
Oh,
Seriously.
it's pretty hot in here too. Okay, so yeah, he's got K2 Mercury and Sun in Scorpio, and that's just that's can be something that there's something going on with government, and I don't know anything about this man whatsoever. Besides, didn't you say something about Hitler?
Yeah, he was approached. He was more than just approached by the Nazis
Wow.
because his knowledge and his level of expertise was just so sought after. They wanted him on their side so bad, but he refused because he's a man of integrity and purpose, and he wasn't. He didn't have to. He didn't have to bend at the knee to them. So he was held in a concentration camp. He was treated badly. He really, really bled for his cause, for his purpose. It's part of the reason why I think he stands out. You said he's a triple water sign, right?
Yeah,
I think I'm a triple water sign too, which is probably why I love him.
no, you're a moon in Gemini.
No, really? Oh my god! I
You know
don't even
what's
know.
so funny? So I follow this tarot card reader who has his own. He was Magic Mike, but now he's changed to like Mystical Illusions. Everybody should watch him. And I think he's got a lot of planets in Gemini. And you and him, you have to watch him. You guys talk in the same language. I don't know how to explain it, but it's that spiritual language that is, just you can go all over the place and
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But it's like you listen to it and you're like, oh my god, you make sense, right? Even though
It's
sometimes you
crazy.
don't even know what the hell you're talking about, it makes sense, right? I mean, it does.
Yeah.
Even like the first time I watched your YouTube, I was like, God, I don't know any of these things, but I really like her. And you're just like you explain it in ways that keeps people thinking, but you still know what you're talking about. So
Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about, just so everybody knows. No, I'm just kidding. I do.
yeah. So okay. Anyway, I'll say this too. He's got Saturn and Mars in Pisces. So he's got a lot of planets. His Rahu is in Rohini. Moon, he's very emotional, very intuitive. He's a Cancer ascendant. I mean, this guy was a good guy, in my opinion.
He was. He was. And I didn't know him personally, but you know how it is when you read a book. Anybody that has a book that they love, an author that they love, you get a feel for that person, who they were. You learn a lot about somebody based on what they write about, and he was just a gentle soul for sure.
And I'll say this, K2 Mercury and Sun in Scorpio, he knew the truth. So
Yeah.
whatever he said, I don't really know much about that, but I'm just gonna go with
You love it. You love it. It's the sort of material that you need some time. You don't read that in one night and absorb it.
I need somebody to make a YouTube of it. That's what I need.
Yeah. There isn't much on YouTube. Would you believe? Oh my God! I searched for Franz Barden today, and I'm the 5th video that comes up, and I thought that was just such a disgrace, and I almost cried because I'm not an authority to talk on him. I am not an adept. I'm not you know what I mean? I'm not an expert. So the fact that my video comes up as one of the first videos talking about him, I was like, oh gods, please, like I'm just speaking my opinion, my perspective. I'm not an authority, so please don't come for me.
All right, so do we have anything else to talk about before we go to readings? I think we go to readings, right?
Let's jump right in.
Okay, first of all, this is Heidi. Heidi, I already like you because your name's Heidi, so we'll go with that. And you're born in September, which I like you even double time. And you're a Scorpio ascendant. So, like me, I feel like I've done this chart. And what's really crazy though, I'm going to say this. You've got Rahu in your first house and K2 in the seventh. So you and I are completely reversed, same set of problems. Okay. It's relationships. And now you probably date and are attracted to and have been in some bad relationships. But I don't know, it could go either way. But you have Mars and K2 in the seventh. So there is a chance that you tend to be attracted to people that are more deep, um, can be kind of aggressive, um, chaotic a little bit here and there. But, when you have Rahu and K2 in the first and seventh house, I just did a video on it with Ryan. You should actually watch it. I just posted it before here. But you have the problem is you're here to learn about you. So you'll get into relationships and that will be your in business partnerships. It's not just relationships, it's any kind of relationship. It's somebody that gets into the wrong relationships to find out who they are, but then they figure out who they are later down the road. But growing up, it's kind of dicey. Um, you have your Jupiter in Revati, which is my moon. So probably why you watch my channel, in the fifth house. So that makes you extremely intuitive, mystical, spiritual, and not to mention your Scorpio rising in the nakshatra of Jesta. You might have long middle fingers. You might be the eldest or the older role in your family if you're an only child. Maybe you just take on elderly roles. Mercury in the 12th. I mean, that's really all I can say with this right now. But your moon is in Aswani, which is the first zodiac nakshatra. They're go-getters. Like, can be adrenaline rushy, like junkies sometimes. You very intense. You're a go-getter. You get shit done. But you can be harsh sometimes. Aswani can be just jump right in. You want to help. You want to heal the world. You might have like for horses, equestrian things, or you may have liked horses, or maybe even gambling or cars, fast cars, race cars, stuff like that. Okay, that's what we have for Heidi. And Heidi, you've been going through a rough few years like me. It should be
Yeah.
loosening up a little bit.
I just
So,
want to listen. So I just listen. It's kind of, and we've done this before, and we've been successful. It's one thing to do like the birth charts and stuff. That stuff is like a formula. It's like a science, and tarot is too. But it will pick up on energies that like are like right now. You know what I mean? So like I pulled some cards for you, Heidi, and a few characters are kind of coming out like stepping out right now. One is kind of like a younger, kind of rebellious female. She's somebody that is kind of a source of tension, but there's also like a lot of love there. It's like a biological attachment. So it's like a sister or a niece or even a daughter that's a little bit problematic. But at the same time, it's like there's some lessons about family and ties and things like that. There's a